What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the NCAA Dynasty, located exclusively here on NCAA 14, with that newest version of college football revamp. We are closing in, progressing through that second half of the season, many getting in their final 3 to 4 games of the year actually, and we got a lot of good matchups around the country, so we're going to dive into that and a lot more tonight. Matter of fact, we have 3 top 25 matchups that are going to be happening later in this episode. 16 nationally televised games in total that I'm going to show you guys here in this episode. We got box scores galore coming up in this episode as well, and we'll also have a handful of studio updates live on the fields in the field of battle. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's going to be a fun one here tonight. I hope you enjoy it. If you do me a massive favor, hit that like button. That helps me out with that continuous fight against the YouTube algorithm. Also, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel and you love what you see, man. You love the vibes over here on the channel. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it like Trey Songz. Let's go to these football fields around the country. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and get week number 9 action officially underway, and we'll start out with a little Big 12 conference matchup. Oklahoma going on the road to take on Texas Tech as the Red Raiders are seeking their bowl eligibility. I almost burped right there. That's sexy. And so is this Oklahoma offense. Oklahoma looking very dynamic in this first quarter of action, looking for their second touchdown of the quarter. And I thought Robert Taylor was going to punch it in, but they will actually mark him just short at about the 1-yard line. We'll see if they can punch it in, and it looks like they will. Very next play, Reggie Anderson is going to keep it all by himself. He's already going to have his second touchdown on the day. Texas Tech looking to respond as they're trying to utilize their no-huddle offense, one of the fastest moving offenses in the entire country. They do not mess around. They do not find out either, but they do face a critical 4th down early. Texas Tech has to come out of its drive with some points, and they're going to be closer to accomplishing that as James Huff is going to pick up the 1st down. Here comes the Red Raiders on the move, going right into their very next play. 1st and goal as Texas Tech opts to go into a 5-wide set. Shotgun formation. It's going to be a quarterback draw up the middle. It's going to be a touchdown. Stanley Foster is going to score. And it's now just a 1-score game yet again, but not lasting very long though, as Oklahoma answers back on their very next drive. They'll be able to get a field goal off of that, and then later on in the second quarter, Oklahoma is going to score on the ground. So a dominant second quarter for Oklahoma to follow up what they did in the initial quarter of action. So now Texas Tech finds itself on the verge of being blown out. They're going to need some points in order to remain just competitive in this game. Forget about the win for a second. They're just trying not to get their back blown out, right? So 1st and 10 coming up. Stanley Foster's going to run the speed option over to the left-hand side, and Quincy Brunner's going to pick up some solid yards there. 3rd down coming up, though. They're back into that 5-wide set. Last time it was a quarterback draw. This time stopping the throw and finds James Huff in the middle of the end zone, borderline, butt naked, wide open for the touchdown. Texas Tech will opt to go for the 2-point conversion, and they will not convert. Stanley Foster pass is going to be batted away at the very last second, and Oklahoma just never looked back after that. A dominating win against Texas Tech, who will have to wait for bowl eligibility. Meanwhile, we have the number 24 team in the nation, the Missouri Tigers. They'll be hosting, honestly, one of the biggest disappointments in college football this season, Minnesota. If y'all remember what happened in year number 2, Minnesota actually made it to the college football playoff. It was a little bit of a controversy that they got in, but they were there in the college football playoff, and I think they actually did make it all the way to the semifinals. And now here we are in year number 3, and Minnesota is not that same team anymore. They're 1-5. It's been an ugly season here in Minnesota. But they're on the road against Missouri, and this has been the problem with Minnesota all year long, the consistency or lack thereof, as Lou Harrison does get it out on the pitch to Charles Riley, and Minnesota will at least score on their ensuing possession. So it cuts into the lead a little bit, but Missouri is going to look to put this game away with a quick field goal to kick us up, and it's going to be good. So Missouri does their job in putting the Gophers away, as Missouri will be bowl eligible. Meanwhile, we get some studio updates as Buffalo, after their 6-0 start, well, they are now on a losing streak officially, as they lose a close one against Maryland in Conference USA action. And then in other news, Southern Miss is able to pull it out against Auburn in a tight one. They win by 1 singular point to get back to above 500. And speaking of those studio updates and teams that could be top 25 caliber, let's go ahead and check on a couple of teams that are actually in the top 25 right now. We got Clemson, 5-1 Clemson on the road to take on North Carolina State. And we got some help from Ben Peterson, who nearly scores on that particular throw. It's going to lead to a 1st and goal, and the quarterback, Keisuke Nakamura, is going to get the scoring start for Clemson. One of your guys' custom players, by the way, making an impact on this Clemson squad. Meanwhile, North Carolina State looks to answer back midway through the second quarter. We still have the exact same score, so points are certainly a little bit of a premium in this matchup, as the Wolfpack will look to tie it up a couple plays later, and Maurice Davis is going to carry it to Pater. Touchdown, Wolfpack! And they are tied with the number 22 team in America. But for how long does that match? Nakamura looks to the right-hand side, throws a dime to David Morris. He nearly gets his first passing touchdown of the day, but I wouldn't be shocked if they just hand it off here. Goal line, they do exactly that in terms of handing the ball off, and Dominique Hawley will put Clemson back ahead with 2:33 left to play in the half. And North Carolina State cannot respond either. So Clemson has a chance to add to the lead before we go into the halftime locker room. Clemson putting together a solid drive already across the 35-yard line. Nakamura dumps it off to his receiver, who breaks a couple of tackles, carries a 3rd out of bounds. And Ben Peterson, he's having himself a second quarter. He's been borderline unstoppable in this particular quarter of action, as Nakamura continues to look his way. Is there an answer for Ben Peterson? 5 catches in the same quarter. It is a fantasy dream come true, and it finished it off with a Dominique Hawley touchdown. Clemson with a commanding lead going into the 3rd quarter, and looking to add on to that commanding lead as well, as Dominique Hawley is able to carry it forward for a gain of 10, leading into another goal line situation. Couple plays later, Nakamura, he's going to take it himself. He is going to be untouched in the end zone. So Clemson does score yet again, and the Clemson Tigers with a commanding 28-14 lead. North Carolina State will need a little bit of a miracle in order to come back and win this game. It starts with this drive, 2nd and short, looking over to the left-hand side, finds his receiver, and cuts into that lead, becomes a 2-score difference after Blake Fallon loses his virginity in terms of touchdown passes on the day. However, if North Carolina State is going to come back, they have to stop this Clemson offensive attack, and it's been a very well-balanced offensive attack all day long. But they'll need Nakamura's arm here on a 3rd and 9. Big 3rd down. Looking to the left-hand side and finds Jamar Moore for the touchdown. And that should very well put it away for the Clemson Tigers. But North Carolina State will at least get some garbage time points. But it won't be enough, though, as Clemson will officially be bowl eligible following this 2-touchdown victory. But we have more games coming on the way as we now check in on the number 3 team in America, the Hurricanes of Miami. Well, they are on the road here today. They will be taking on UCF. The Knights trying to get crazy here in the bounce house in a rainy Orlando, Florida. Could be a storm coming up on the field, dare I say it. We got a 3rd and inches coming up as Miami looks for that commanding lead, and Marcus Amos will punch it in on his own on the speed option. So Miami with a commanding lead already. However, UCF, at least they won't get shut out in this particular game. They at least have that going, but other than that, it was not a good day to be a UCF fan, as Miami dominates as they continue to be undefeated, 58-24. But a bunch more games coming up, not just these 4 games that are coming up on your screen right now. We also have 3 additional games happening, all in this 3:30 slate. So it's about to get a little crazy. It might get a little wild. We'll start over in the MAC Conference as Northern Illinois is on the road taking on the number 19 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Big game here for both teams. Northern Illinois trying to prove that they deserve to be ranked in the top 25, whereas the winner of this game, just in general, well, they'll control their own destiny to get to the MAC Conference Championship, because these 2 teams reside in the exact same division. And right now, it is not looking good for Thomas Hammock Jr.'s offense and company. Matter of fact, Notre Dame dominating throughout this first half. They actually sprint out to a 28-0 lead and use that to get a message-sending victory in the MAC, as Notre Dame will control its own destiny within that conference. We'll get away from those conference implications for a quick moment as we quickly check in on Oregon State and Michigan State. This game was happening at exactly the same time. This is not a conference matchup, obviously, unlike what many modern college football pundits would tell you down the line 10, 15 years from now. Swear, it is a non-conference matchup, and Oregon State on the verge of taking a 10-0 lead early as they'll get it to the outside. Jamal Palmer is going to score for Oregon State. So the Beavers, they are building the dam, and they're building up higher walls for Michigan State to overcome later on. Cedric Roach is going to provide them with another 1st and goal opportunity inside the 5-yard line. Gonna try to run it in with the tailback, and Daryl Sanders is going to score. Oregon State with a 19-point lead. Just an on Sickos committee type score. Michigan State got that extra 2 points from a safety, by the way. So that's when you know it's bad, when a safety counts for almost half of the total points you scored through this game. While Oregon State didn't dominate, they were convincing as they get back to over 500 thanks to this 25-point win over the Spartans. That being said, we now go across the country. We got the battle for the belt. UNLV taking on Nevada. This is actually a non-conference game. Nevada part of that vaunted Pac-12 conference within the NCSL Dynasty landscape. And at first, both teams are kind of just feeling each other out. Just, waiting to hold a little bit longer before they throw their biggest punches. But then as this game starts to progress, we start to see a little bit more scoring start to happen. Nevada does get a touchdown off screen, and now UNLV needs to try to take the lead. Looking over the middle of the field, finds his receiver, and I thought the way that camera moved, Justin Singleton put the ball on the ground, but thankfully he didn't do that. It will set up 1st and goal for the Rebels as they will get back ahead of the Wolfpack thanks to a 2-yard Eric Jones touchdown. So UNLV has the lead. Not only that, they also have the ball yet again as they trying to put an exclamation point in the first half, but instead it's Nevada that's able to force an interception. So you hate to see it, but Nevada doesn't do anything with it. They have the plan away on the very next possession. UNLV putting together another point scoring drive potentially though, as they're inside the 30-yard line, and it's gonna be a touchdown. Justin Singleton is gonna score, and Drew Foster does redeem himself after throwing an interception in the red zone on the previous drive. So here we are, 20-14 your score, and Daryl Foster, that man, he is a certified bad man. He is certainly that for sure, as UNLV looking to put Nevada away, and that could very well do it. 20-point lead, less than a half of football to play. We have seen crazier things. Is this one of those moments for the battle-born states? Nevada looking to try to get back into the game as David Hill takes the halfback screen. Picks up a few yards there, but a critical third down that they don't convert. So, fourth down, they got to go for it. Going with the screen, and Brian Oliver just barely, and I mean just barely, picks up that first down. So, Nevada drives stay alive, and they really need to get a touchdown on this drive. Couple plays later, no, David Hill didn't score there. Wow, I thought David Hill punched it in. So that clock is going to continue to run, but they will go right back to David Hill, and Nevada will score. It's back to being a two-possession game, but UNLV is trying to hand this game to the Wolfpack. As UNLV goes free and out, Nevada moves downfield, and all of a sudden, just a 6-point game. Did not see this coming. They got to get this onside kick, and David Gray recovers. Nevada has the football once again, and they have all three of their timeouts as well. Nevada, can they pull the improbable? Dropping back. He's got some time, and he's going to throw to the left-hand side to Clayton Perkins for the first down. They'll use one of their timeouts. They'll have one more to work with as they progress to this 2nd and 5. Looking around, got some time yet again, able to make a man miss in the open field, and David Hill once again gets another first down. That's his 6th catch of the day. But 4th and 12 though, this is for all the marbles. Looking towards the end zone, it's a wide but naked open Noah Cole. Touchdown Nevada, and they were down 20. They come back with 21 unanswered as they stun UNLV in the battle of the battle-born states. Oh, did that leave some excitement? And that's not the only game that we have here with intense in-state rivalries. West Virginia and Marshall getting ready to go at it here for the Friends of Cole rivalry game, pitting the two schools in West Virginia. The Appalachian State going up against each other. A much more low-scoring affair, though, as Marshall is trying to punch it into the end zone. That could haunt him if Marshall loses this game, because as you can see by how the score is looking right now, points are an absolute premium at the moment. So we'll see if that haunts them later on, but this quarterback for Marshall does redeem himself, though, as Mike Matthews going to throw a dime to the end zone, and his receiver will do the rest. However, West Virginia will also come away with some points here in this third quarter of action. Kick is up, and it is going to be good. So a one-possession game going into the final quarter, as that quarterback was harassed, but it was a screen. Marshall's defense was bamboozled. They were flabbergasted. And now it's a tied ball game with 3.5 left to play. Looking to the left-hand side. It's caught by Mike Williams. Touchdown, Marshall. And the Thundering Herd will steamroll over West Virginia in the fourth quarter as they win the Friends of Cole Bowl. So we'll take a quick break from all the action in the 3:30 games to check these games around the country, and UTEP pulls the upset on Rice. The Owls have been flabbergasted as they could be in some serious danger of falling out of the top 25 because of this performance. UTEP's going to win their 2nd game of the year, getting to 2-5, while Rice loses their 2nd game of the year at 5-2. Alright, so we're back into the 3:30 action here as we go to the Turnpike battle in Oklahoma. Oklahoma State and Tulsa do not like each other. You think the Bedlam game is an intense one? Oh, baby, this game could also have that intensity as well, even though it's not as well known. First drive of the game, though, Lou Muñez is looking to set the tone, and he does with his legs. Touchdown, Oklahoma State, and the Cowboys, they're gonna shoot first, leaving Tulsa down by 7. Winless in the first half of the season, looking to stun the Oklahoma State Cowboys here on the road, and J.R. Perkins will get them into a goal line situation. Few plays later, 3rd and goal as they go with a power set. Tulsa trying to punch it in, and they will with Jamal Barber in the end zone. Touchdown, Tulsa. We got a tie game on our hands, and that's the beautiful thing about rivalry games. It doesn't matter the record. Sometimes you just get some weird things happening in these rivalry games, but maybe that doesn't necessarily apply here. Lou Munoz is going to keep his guys level-headed, flat and not flat-footed, as they'll take a little bit more of a commanding lead, as Oklahoma State with an 11-point lead, looking to put an exclamation point towards the end of the first half. Munoz looking to scramble. He is going to be brought down for a gain of 10. And Lou Munoz, I don't think he's going to use his timeout. He's going to go and show his cojones. Snaps the ball with 5 seconds. Munoz fires. Intercepted. Munoz trades a free for absolutely nothing, and the gamble does not pay off. Tulsa only down by 5 after a touchdown off screen. So the Golden Hurricanes, they have a chance to take the lead, and they will. That interception could haunt, because Tulsa's going for this 2-point conversion. That's just to extend their lead, to make sure that they don't lose to a field goal. And the 2-point conversion is so good. If only Lou Munoz decide to play a little bit more conservatively, Oklahoma State would be ahead. But instead, we see this Oklahoma State trying to get downfield, and I'm sure that's going to be close enough for field goal range. So I'm really curious to see how they play the rest of this drive. Sure enough, no time wasted. Lou Munoz is going to score in his first red zone appearance since throwing that interception towards the end of the first half. And now Oklahoma State is ahead, but they're going for 2 so that they can't lose on an extra point in the 2-point conversion. Well, that 2-point conversion, it is going to be good. And now Tulsa, with its offense on the field, less than 2:30 to go. Looking over to the left-hand side, he's got a streaking receiver who makes it to midfield. J.R. Perkins with the first down. Can they build off of that first down, though, as this quarterback drops back, looks over the middle of the field, and it's intercepted. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe but that fat lady, oh, that fat lady might be singing right now. I'll tell you what. So all the Cowboys got to do is run the rest of this clock out, and they're going to be good for their 3rd win of the entire season. But Tulsa still has their timeouts, so we'll see if Tulsa can get this offense off the field. It's going to be Lou Munoz out on the perimeter. He's going to take it upfield for another first down that should seal it. But look what they decided to do. Less than 30 seconds left. They could have just taken a knee. And look at this instead. It's going to be trying to rub it in the face of their rivals, as Josh Henson, the head coach of Oklahoma State, is going to get his 25th career win for the Cowboys, as they will win the Turnpike Battle 36-22 to get closer to 500. Now, we have number 7, Michigan, however, going on the road to take on the Redhawks of Miami, as these two teams are getting ready for their divisional matchup in the Hoosier division of the Big Ten Conference. Winner of this game would indeed control their very own destiny. We'll see who can be riding the destiny of their own ship at the end of this game. But Fred Morris IV, it is very clear that he definitely, most certainly, wants to be that guy. And now, looking at a 3rd and inches coming up, Morris gonna hand it off to his tailback, and Jason Sims is going to take care of the rest. Touchdown, Michigan! And the Wolverines expand their lead, but the Redhawks looks to claw their way back. Quarterback's got plenty of time in the pocket, dumps it off to Drew Hill, and the Redhawks will take a timeout there as they go with a halfback draw. Bold strategy for Condon, but it's gonna work. William Mathis is gonna score. Oh my goodness, you did not see that coming. But now Fred Morris IV is trying to put together a one more drive before the end of the half. He's got a ton of time, only 3 guys in the pocket, Morris trying to throw it up for his receiver. Basically kind of a Hail Mary type deal. And Miami gets the interception. So, Red Hawks are still in this game. It is far from over right now. The Red Hawks are still in this game. And I imagine they could find a way to win this game. Miami should be ranked in the top 25. It needs to happen. It has not happened to this point, but Michigan wants to do everything that they can to ensure that they remain undefeated. Fourth quarter, we got a first and goal as Fred Morris, the fourth, throws a critical interception. Oh no, Fred Morris throwing his second interception of the day. But that being said though, Miami can't capitalize. They can't take advantage. So they come away with no points on their next drive. And Fred Morris, the fourth, he's sick and tired of his Miami team hanging around in the game. 2nd and 10, setting up the halfback screen, and it goes perfectly. Only one man to beat, and he was pushed out of the way. Touchdown, Michigan. And Miami, while they tried their best to try to claw back into this game, they'll even score a touchdown here. The problem is, there was no time left when that touchdown was scored. No onside kick was attempted, and Michigan, because of that, will remain undefeated. But now let's check in on Michigan's most hated rival, the Buckeyes of Ohio State, as Ohio State is hosting Toledo, and Toledo is surprisingly still in the thick of things in the Buckeye division, thanks to their loss to Miami of Ohio, that Ohio State suffered earlier in the season. So actually there is a very real possibility that if Toledo wins this game, they can control their own destiny in the Buckeye division. But Ohio State doing anything and everything possible in order to avoid allowing that to happen, as they'll take a 17-7 lead into the second quarter. As once again, Brooke Hicks hasn't it been nice to have him back in the starting lineup. He's been an injury-prone quarterback in his college career, but when he is in the games, he has done a great job directing the Ohio State offense, and it's more evident on this throw to the left-hand side, finding an open Brandon Burks, and Ohio State dominates the Rockets of Toledo 51-14 in this Buckeye State battle. Now we have a couple of more matchups coming up on the way, and they're both top 25 matchups, actually. So very excited for that. First, let's go with the game that has so many eyes around the country. Number 1 Washington goes on the road to Berkeley, California to take on the number 4 ranked California Bears. And this is a battle of Northwestern division supremacy. Whoever wins this game is going to control their destiny to make it to the Pac-12 championship, a massive accomplishment regardless of how high your expectations are as a football team. But while Washington, they're going to strike the first blood as Sean Terrell is going to punch it into the end zone within the first few minutes of the game starting. Washington is now up by 7 points, and Cal cannot respond back in kind. They actually had to punt the football away. Washington's quarterback, however, he's got some legs to him down the sideline, and Alan Castillo is finally brought down inside the 30-yard line, and that will eventually lead to yet another Washington touchdown. This time it is Andy Curtis who is going to get his hands into the end zone there. So Cal finds itself down by quite the margin thus far. They need a spark from their offense, but they're going to get the exact opposite as we have a fumble on the field. It's going to be recovered by the Huskies. Ryan Jackson. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. He is for real. Touchdown, Huskies. Doing a great job getting off of his block. And then after he scoops up the ball, he goes off to the races. And he was gone like a girl in the country song. 21-0 in favor of Washington. And the California Bears, oh, they need some points on the board, and they need them in the worst way. Hopefully that helps, as Tom Thompson, with a very explosive carry down the sideline, and eventually creates a red zone opportunity in which Kobe Jones will capitalize for California. So the Bears are finally up on that scoreboard but they cut it down to 2 possessions. Still a lot of work left to do if they want to get themselves back into this game. And it's all about stopping this Washington rushing attack, which has been absolutely dangerous. That's one way to do it. Continue to force some turnovers, and Cal is going to recover. Here comes the Bears, getting their home crowd right back into the game thanks to those change in events. And sure enough, California is going to, no! They're not going to score! A dangerous pass! It's intercepted! Breaks away from a couple of tackles, and it's going to be brought back to about the 20-yard line. Omar Clifford puts those dreams to rest, and the crowd gets close to silent, just absolutely in disbelief. However, the Washington Huskies do not score in their next possession. They have to punt the ball away, and Cal will answer back in kind with a 41-yard strike from Fred Ferguson, doing a beautiful job running the seam route and just dropping it right in the bucket there. Cal is right back in the game, and they actually have a chance to tie. Before we go into the halftime locker room, Jackson looks over the middle of the field and gets intercepted. Picked off yet again. Andrew Jackson has had a very up and down first half. Made some great plays, but also made some extraordinarily boneheaded decisions too. That one does lead to a field goal as well. So Cal is down by 10 points, and it's not going to get any better. Jackson gets picked off for a 3rd time, and it is a hat trick that nobody wants any business of. Throwing free interception in a single game. That's just, you know, you hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. It also leads to yet another field goal for the Washington Huskies as well. So here we are in the 4th quarter. Cal has a chance to respond. Are we going to see a second scoop and score? Is that really what's about to happen? It does! Larry Clark, the true freshman from Evergreen, Colorado, is going to put Cal within 6. And oh my, we got ourselves a game now. 1st and 10. Washington looking to put it away, and they might do it in kind. Sean Peterson with an 18-yard strike. And Adam Castillo, he hasn't passed the ball too much today. You saw his stats, 18 for 22. But when he does get a shot, he is absolutely efficient, and he's absolutely deadly. They'll go for the 2-point conversion, but because of a false start, it's from the 7-yard line, and Adam Castillo, he is going to fall down there. So 2-point conversion is no good. Cal is down by 12, and Jackson needs a big play down the field. Has all the time in the world and throws it in the bucket for Kobe Jones for a 32-yard reception inside the 40-yard line. Jackson again with time, looks to the right inside. It's intercepted for the 4th time today. 4 times Andrew Jackson has completed a pass technically, but put it in the hands of a guy that's wearing a different jersey. And because of those turnovers, Washington is going to win in this dramatic battle of top 5 squads. Washington wins 33-21, and the Huskies not only in top of the nation, but also control their own destiny to the playoff. But let's now go ahead and check in on the other top 25 matchup that we have going on. Arkansas State, who just recently entered the top 25 as well. They come in ranked number 25 in the country. They got to go to Death Valley in order to take on LSU, ranked number 14 in America right now. A key Sun Belt Conference game, and LSU is going to take this Arkansas State team extremely seriously, as Mark Palmer will get the scoring started on the opening drive as well. None of the less. Only takes a couple of minutes to do it, but LSU, well, they will be on the board, and Death Valley is certainly excited about that. Late in the 1st quarter, we still have a same score, 7-0. That might not be holding forever, though, as Sean Callahan is able to bust one open, getting the LSU Tigers in the red zone. Start the 2nd quarter, handing it off to Sean Callahan who punches it in for the Tigers. And that ground game has been extremely deadly for LSU. The Tigers taking a 14-0 lead. Meanwhile, Arkansas State looks to answer back to prove that they are indeed a top 25 team, and that will certainly help the cause. Jason Campbell, who is actually an FCS transfer, making an impact in that moment there. Arkansas State back to within one possession, but LSU with a couple of minutes left. Derek Brown running the speed option all by himself. He's got a convoy down the field, and they score. Touchdown, Tigers. And the LSU ground attack, well, there is no match for him on the field. Look at all the pancakes that are happening all around him. I mean, you don't get a better convoy than that, and that's why LSU has the lead here going into the fourth quarter. But Arkansas State, oh, even late in the game, they can be a little bit nasty themselves. Derek Brown runs right into a sack there, so they have to settle for a 40-yard field goal. And the field goal attempt is good. But before the end of the game, though, we'll see if LSU decides to put on some more points on the board. And Sean Callahan, he wants some more points to get it style points. And there it is. Sean Callahan is going to score. Touchdown, LSU. And the Tigers will be bowl eligible after a dramatic 31-7 victory over Arkansas State. The Red Wolves will drop their third game of the year, only their second loss in conference play. So they're still, all of their goals are still in front of them. As we take a quick break now to take a look at another studio updates. And this one, we got a game that just went final. Arizona wins by 2 scores. Few more games that we do have left going on, and we got a great one towards the end. But first, we'll check in on Tennessee versus Alabama. Tennessee has a good record, but only has not won any games versus top 25 teams. So this is another one of those cases where, hey, is Tennessee actually good, or are they a little bit on that fraudulent side, right? Or are they frauds, or are they actual contenders to maybe be a dark horse to win the MAC and win that national championship possibly? And so far, Tennessee actually is, you know, hanging right in there, in the number 9 team in the country in Tuscaloosa, by the way. A very intimidating environment when the crowd bothers to get up for the game. Alabama is looking to retake that lead, though. First and goal with the closing seconds of the first quarter. Quentin Lake is going to get the handoff, and he will punch it into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide will indeed take the lead. Now with it being 10-7 though. And Crimson Tide will continue to build upon that lead as well, as Quentin Lake, he's going to get his second rushing touchdown of the evening there. But Tennessee will walk away with a field goal towards the towards the closing moments of that second quarter. So Tennessee again still hanging around. They actually will use that to rattle off 10 unanswered points in the second half. So, Alabama, don't get me wrong, they certainly had a fight of their lives. But Alabama will survive, and they will continue their winning ways, handing Tennessee their third consecutive loss. It's been rough to watch for sure. But we now check in on Temple versus Penn State out in Conference USA. A battle of 2 teams in the state of Pennsylvania, matter of fact. But Penn State has just another one of those teams that is dramatically underperformed right now, right? Penn State, another team that went into the college football playoff last year, and they go from making it to the playoff to now being in a battle against Temple of all teams. And no disrespect to Temple, it's a solid program within the NCAA, but Temple has the lead, and Happy Valley is now in danger. They are not liking what they're seeing in Happy Valley right now. Luckily, that is looking to change soon. Corey Carter is going to get a gain of 11 yards there in order to make it first and goal. Is now going back to Carter. No, it's a keeper for the quarterback. Daniel Williams is going to score for Penn State. And here we are in the fourth quarter. A low-scoring game. A game in which, oh baby, points are certainly going to be coming at a premium. Temple looking to send this game possibly into overtime, but first they got to get some stops from their defense though. If Penn State can get into the end zone here, it's going to be over. And look at this running back, Corey Shelby, he never gives up on the play. He never hears a whistle because he landed on a defender's back, so he actually never touched the ground. So a couple of extra yards because of that nice awareness to keep the play going. And because of that, Penn State will also eventually put Temple away as the Nittany Lions do win by 16. Now we get into that big time matchup out on the West Coast. It's a great episode for Pac-12 football. Two of the 3 top 25 games that we're seeing here today, well, they are involving the Pac-12 conference, and specifically in that specific division. Hawaii, basically the last team in the way that could realistically catch USC for that specific divisional title within the Pac-12. So if USC can win this game, they control their own destiny, and they would need a major meltdown the last 4 games in order to not go to that conference championship, right? So here we are, midway through the second quarter. USC actually in a more defensive game than imagined. Both teams are more offensive programs, but Ben Scott is going to change that there. He is going to run it into the end zone himself after he knows that, hey, no one is really getting open for me. I just don't like the looks. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to punch it in ourselves. I mean, look at the time that he has, too. I'm sure that definitely helps as well. So Hawaii is down 14-3 as the Rainbow Warriors are going to try to send a... No, they don't even try the Hail Mary. And how's this linebacker's going to get an interception towards the end of the half? If he was a little bit smarter, he could have went down a little bit sooner and possibly try a field goal attempt. Chose not to do that, though. However, Hawaii has not found its way into the end zone yet. It has been a dramatic struggle. It looks like those struggles are going to continue as Briggs is going to be picked off there. Yet another interception thrown by the Hawaii quarterback. Hawaii on the big stage looks like they might not be ready, at least right now, for that big time. That's going to be picked off, and USC will turn that into a field goal. So up 17-6 going into the final quarter as Briggs still trying to make anything happen offensively. And sometimes everything goes your way. Sometimes everything just seems like it's going against you. Irvin Gutierrez going to get a second interception. That was a dynamic play as well. Although Briggs could have done a little bit better in terms of, hey, maybe we don't throw that particular ball. Ben Scott knows a thing or two about throwing good balls. And Ben Scott is going to find Brian Jennings in the end zone. Touchdown, Trojans. And with the way the USC defense is actually playing right now, that should be enough to put it away. And sure enough, it was. USC wins 27-6 to get to 7-1. And more importantly, they control their destiny to make it to the Pac-12 championship game later this year. So we had some time to take a look at some of the national televised games around the country. Let's take a look at some other scores that may have fallen under the cracks a little bit. How about some custom on custom violence here to start the box score update? Western Kentucky is going to blow out Troy 45-3. Doug Rose's offense was rolling in this game. They get their 4th win of the year, and they forced Troy to fall to 1-7. Meanwhile, Georgia State was simply no match for the Seminoles of Florida State as Florida State ends up winning pretty easily. The Seminoles win 41-6 in order to remain undefeated on the season still. As for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, they have continued their winning rays as they are now on a 6-game winning streak, taking down the Kansas Jayhawks at home 34-24. The Cornhuskers are now eligible to go bowling as well. As for the Iowa Hawkeyes, we will welcome Iowa back into that top 25 as Iowa is going to beat Northwestern 35-17. Iowa is now 5-2 on the season. Meanwhile, for UCLA, the Bruins are going to get a dominant win at home against San Diego State. UCLA's 50 burger is going to prevail UCLA into bowl eligibility here in year number 3. But Vanderbilt was down horrendous meanwhile at the same time, as Mid-Tennessee State is going to blow out Vanderbilt 35-3, a surprising win for the Blue Raiders, who just increased their bowl chances. Speaking of increasing their chances for bowl eligibility, Arkansas just quenched that this week as they take down South Alabama 38-21, and the Razorbacks as well are going to be back into that top 25 thanks to this victory. But one team that will not stay very long in the top 25 though is the Stanford Cardinal. Not only did they lose their game against Fresno State that they were a favorite in, they got blown out by Fresno State too. The Bulldogs are on a 2-game winning streak thanks to this 48-7 victory, and of course this also obviously means that Stanford is no longer associated in that top 25 either. As for the Florida Gators continue a really strong season as Florida's going to beat Louisiana Monroe 45-17. Florida notches their 7th win of the year, and they're still very much in the hunt for an SEC championship as well. But a team that is not in the hunt for anything at this point is Texas A&M, and it goes from bad to worse. Texas A&M is still looking for their first win of the year, and they lose big against Houston 48-6. It's been a tough time for the Aggies, it seems like, in this series. Boise State also finds their footing late in the season, but it is a little too late. Boise State does win 42-7, but it doesn't change the fact that Boise State will most likely not experience any bowl action over the course of this season this year. And of course, we have the Army Black Knights, and Army continues to, fly under the radar, but at the same time, show that they need to be part of this national championship conversation potentially. Army wins 35-17 against Syracuse, as Army is still perfect on the year and also a part of the top 10. And speaking of those top 25 rankings, let's take a quick look to see how the rankings do short out. We're going to take a look at the coaches poll because that is what the official ranking show like in the game. They don't switch to the college football playoff till late. So here's what the rankings are currently looking like as of right now. Not a lot of movement here until you get to Army. Army moves up 5 spots to number 7 in the entire country. They do this off that win off of Syracuse. We did talk about that. Cal did lose their first game of the season. They actually fall 5 spots to number 9, which I thought seemed a little bit harsh because they were taking on the number 1 team in America. But it is what it is. As for other muscle movements in these top 25 polls, not a lot of movement in the middle of the AP top 25. We see Nebraska move up a couple of spots after a 10-point win versus Kansas. Notre Dame, they're now in the driver's seat to go to the MAC championship game after they blew out Northern Illinois. NIU, also a team that was in that hunt as well. Memphis is on bye, but because of some chaos that happened around them, they were able to move up a couple of spots because of that. Florida moves up 2 spots. They had a good win against Louisiana Monroe. Hawaii loses their 2nd game in the season. They fall down 5 spots to now number 20 in the entire country. So that's a tough look for that Hawaii team. And rounding out your top 25, you got Missouri at number 22 in the country. Arkansas is back in at 23. Iowa at 24. And then Southern Miss gets back in at number 25 in the country. So we do have a few newcomers that are entering the top 25 ranks. So an electric week number 9 as we start to narrow our potential college football playoff field. Teams that are still fighting for conference championships and those 2 wildcard spots at the end of the year as well that will help determine will be a part of now a 12-team field. But we have multiple top 25 matchups coming your way in the next episode. It's going to be fun. It is going to be absolutely amazing to see those games play out and then some. So hope you enjoyed this video while you're waiting for that next episode. If you enjoyed this video, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a massive favor. Smack that like button for me because that helps me out the YouTube algorithm. And then also hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.